If you could live forever and watch the universe lifespan unfold before your eyes and not age a single day, would you do it? Well, physics says there is a way not to age, not even a single hour, ever. And it's called time dilation. And something we know of already uses this, and we know how we could use it. But what would living forever teach us about the meaning of life? Hello everyone, my name's Adrian, and I'm no physicist, but I am a physician, and I have an interest in science and medicine amongst many others. But that interest also includes exploring the intersection of science and philosophical thinking in how we live, love, and find meaning in our lives. And if that sounds interesting and resonates somewhere with you, keep watching. Okay, so time dilation. Let's start with a bit of physics. Albert Einstein, the genius physicist who changed the world's thinking about the essence of time. Through his philosophical and mathematical genius, he showed that time is not absolute, and it is in fact relative. It flows differently dependent on how fast you move and how close you might be to a gravitational field, like a black hole. Now, this isn't just theory. Astronauts on space stations experience it. Their clocks run a little bit slower. And if you watched my previous video on GPS satellite time correction, you'll already know this. And if you haven't, feel free to watch it. So the International Space Station, or ISS, is actually in lower orbit than GPS satellites. So gravity at the ISS is more similar to the Earth's surface. But of course, the ISS is moving very fast compared to Earth, and so the relative speed is more dominant than the gravitational effects on its clocks. However, in GPS satellites, their orbit is much higher than the International Space Station, and they're also moving fast. So the weaker gravitational field causes its clocks to run faster, but also, as it's moving fast, its relative speed to Earth causes its clocks to run slower. So essentially you need to net off these effects and correct the time to get the Earth clocks to be synchronous with the satellites. So the interesting part is the closer you get to the speed of light, the slower and slower time gets for you compared to others. And at the speed of light, well, time just stops. So for a photon of light, which are the individual packages of light, there is no journey. Its birth and its death are exactly the same instant. The photons from the Big Bang experience no time passing from its birth to the time it interacted with the retina in the back of your eye. Of course, we ourselves can't get to the speed of light, given that we have mass. And the more we accelerate, the more our mass increases based on Einstein's E=mc² equation. Well, in essence, it's actually our energy and our momentum that increase. But since energy and mass are interchangeable, then that energy acts as added mass. So at 99.9% the speed of light, you need absolutely absurd amounts of energy to get even that tiny bit faster. And at the speed of light, the energy input would be infinite. So we know how to get there, right? Just put infinite energy in, which is of course not possible at the moment. Now imagine you're in a spaceship, accelerating close to the speed of light, and time passes for you as normal. You eat, think, sleep, and dream as normal. But outside your window, you see millions, maybe billions of years unfold before your eyes. Stars being born and exploding into supernovas. Galaxies are spinning in fast forward like pinwheels on steroids. And you could just keep watching on and on until you saw the heat death of the universe. But inside your ship, you're alone on this journey. No one else is with you, and in an instant, everyone you've ever loved or any connection that you've ever known is gone. You've outlived everything, including the universe as we know it. So you get to see what happens after the universe ends. You're really the only person to do so. So you are unique. But what would that feel like, just existing in the endless stretch of elongated time? I think many of us would agree that this is an absolute nightmarish scenario. And although you would live forever, technically, there would, for most of us, be no real meaning to this. It would feel empty and perhaps even a shallow experience. You know, if we simply outlived everything or had endless time, things become meaningless. Even though we would have seen and experienced things no one else ever could, immortality makes things inconsequential. The fact that we are mortal and that time is limited for us is what makes things special. You know, other people's existence with us through our time gives us meaning. Think about your fondest memories. Are they alone? Or are they shared moments like birthdays, meals, long walks and talks with others? These moments are incredibly precious because they happen in rhythm with others and because we are finite. We become aware that these moments may never happen again because we are finite. There will be a last time that you see the world, the sunrise. There will be a last time that you see certain significant people or beings in your life. And it's that mortality that gives us urgency. With infinite time, there would be no urgency, no reason to cherish a sunset or gather with people, forgive someone or say, I love you today versus doing those things in 10,000 years' time. It's like a beautiful musical symphony. The music itself is wonderful because it ends at some point. It takes you to a new place for a short while and makes you feel something in that moment. And if that music just stretched on forever with no end, it would just lose its impact. But what if there was a way that we could live forever without living forever? Well, there is. And it's perhaps our connection to others, our legacy of thought and actions. Imagine someone who has impacted you deeply in your life, who's either not in the room or may have even passed away. Can you see the way that they laugh, the things that they taught you? Can you feel the experiences you shared? And can you still laugh at those moments that you experienced together? You know, I personally can still envisage certain moments in my life with people where I'm instantly transported into the feelings of those moments, both good feelings and perhaps not so good feelings. So it's not just about family or children. Every act of kindness to another person, a stranger, a patient, or to a friend, it changes their story and can be carried forwards by them because you impacted them powerfully, and in turn they will impact someone else. So our legacy lived through someone else. And even if on that spaceship you could have brought a few people with you, like your immediate family, that would most likely be better. But is it enough? Humans are social beings, and perhaps we need even more people to be able to extend our thoughts and our ideas and kindness to be able to live a full life. So cheating time is perhaps more about our impact on others and how our ideas stay with them long after the arrow of time has taken our bodies. So this time dilation thought experiment was just a fun little way that leads us back to the obvious. You know, living longer for its own sake isn't necessarily what we want, because more time doesn't mean more life. However, living longer to experience more life in the presence of others, being seen by others, and having some importance to them is far more meaningful. So the meaning of life is relational to others, meaning we need to synchronize our brief and fragile span with others, laughing, loving, creating, and forgiving. This impacts people in a way that is not erased by the dissolution of our bodies. Life isn't about creating a longer lifespan per se, it's about using the short time we have meaningfully by sharing it and using our minds to take part in those moments fully. Living our lives in community with others, whether that be a community through sport, family, friends, watch collecting, all of these have some kind of community we can involve ourselves in. So in essence, Einstein's physics teaches us that time is relative, and philosophy teaches us that life is also relative. And I hope that helps you to look around you and realize and value that our time is short, and that it is this very fact that our time is short that allows us to do incredible things. Well, if you made it this far, thank you for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please check out my other talk, and of course, keep that wonder about life.